Hi, everyone. Thanks for checking out the fifth webinar here out of six in this webinar series. In this webinar, we will be discussing a high energy dense diet and a low energy dense diet for weight management in elite athletes. My name is Addie Lears. I'm a graduate student at Concordia College in Moorhead, Minnesota. I did my graduate capstone research on weight management practices in elite athletes. So I'll just be sharing today the research that is available on these two diets. So to start, we're going to go through our learning objectives here. So objective one, after watching this webinar, we'll be able to define a high energy dense diet and a low energy dense diet in terms of weight management. Number two, we will be aware of the research that is currently available on the use of a low energy dense diet to assist with weight loss and a high energy dense diet to assist with weight gain. And objective three, we will be able to understand the impact a low energy dense diet and a high energy dense diet can have on body composition and athletic performance. So we're going to get started here with some definitions of a low energy dense diet and high energy dense diet. So from here on out in the presentation, I'll be referring to a low energy dense diet as an LED diet and a high energy dense diet as an HED. So starting with that low energy dense diet. So when we think of low energy dense foods, you can kind of think of it as foods that contain a smaller number of calories within a larger amount of food. So think of those fruits and vegetables, lean meats, fish, low fat dairy. So you can eat more of that while still eating less calories. On the other side, a high energy dense diet is where you eat foods that have a larger number of calories within a smaller amount of food. So things like trail mix or shakes, smoothies, peanut butter, avocados, all of those foods that have a lot more calories in a smaller quantity. So now that we've gone through the definitions, let's look at the research that is available on a low energy dense diet for weight loss. So, unfortunately, there's actually no studies that have been conducted that examine the effects of a low energy dense diet on athletes' body composition or performance. That being said, it is generally considered a healthful weight loss strategy in the general public as it's not eliminating whole food groups. So you're not restricting your intake, by taking out dairy or grains. Rather, it's just emphasizing more intake of those lower energy dense foods, which are those fruits and veggies, whole grains, low fat dairy, legumes, beans, lean meats, fish. So, all the foods that are really good for you and that you should have. So, that's why it is a commonly employed method to assist with weight management, as it can help with that appetite control because you're still consuming more food but just less calories. And that's ultimately going to help contribute to weight loss. So, key takeaways for a low energy dense diet for weight loss. Ultimately, it is a smart weight loss strategy for you as an athlete, as you're still going to be able to consume a similar amount of food to what you're used to. So, you're not actually reducing your portion sizes, rather, you're changing the energy density of your food. So, rather than eating, 12 potato chips for 100 calories, you could eat, 2 cups of berries for the same amount. So it's going to help you feel more satisfied without having those extreme cravings or hunger that you might feel, by just restricting your intake. And that's ultimately going to help you with adhering to your diet. So we always want to think of, when you're thinking of a weight management plan, something that's sustainable and that works for you, which is why a low energy dense diet is, so great to incorporate into your already, diet, as you just have to change a little bit of the energy densities of the food. And lastly, it's nutrient rich. So there's fewer chances that nutrient deficiencies will occur, which is, always what we want when restricting intake. Switching our attention to a high energy dense diet. So, just like the low energy dense diet, there's actually no research available that examines the effects of a high energy dense diet on body composition or performance in athletes. However, it is a common weight gain recommendation to incorporate these high energy dense foods into your diet, as they can help you achieve that calorie surplus without having you feel as uncomfortably full as you might, incorporating more low energy dense foods, because you don't have to eat as much to get a higher amount of calories. Therefore, our key takeaways are that, again, you can eat a way lesser amount of high energy dense foods compared to low energy dense foods for a greater number of calories. So this is really helping if, you are trying to gain weight, but you already have such high energy needs because you're an athlete, your training demands are so high that you can just supplement these high energy dense foods or liquids, like smoothies, shakes, into meals and snacks. So, putting it all together, again, no studies unfortunately have examined the effects of a high energy dense diet or a low energy dense diet on body composition or performance in an athlete. That being said, a low energy dense diet is commonly, employed as a weight management strategy, as it's still nutrient rich. You're getting all the energy you need by just reducing that or energy density of the food. And then on the other side, high energy dense foods are a common weight gain recommendation for athletes needing to gain weight, because you can just supplement these into meals and snacks. So, things I want to point out though, for you before you want to start a low energy dense diet or a high energy dense diet. So, the main point here, your whole diet does not need to just be low energy dense foods or high energy dense foods to follow either of these diets. Rather, we're trying just to focus on variety. So, for example, if you're trying to follow a high energy dense diet, if you were just incorporating high energy dense foods, that means you would not really be eating those fruits and vegetables or lean meats, which wouldn't be a well rounded diet then. So, again, it's everything in moderation, focusing on that variety, just supplementing these foods into your current diet, rather than having it take over the diet. So, next point that I want to get into is not all low energy dense foods and high energy dense foods are created equal or therefore healthy. For example, high energy dense foods also includes things like fried foods, and low energy dense foods on the other hand can contain, a lot of preservatives and chemicals. So you really still want to try to incorporate as much minimally processed foods as you can, foods that are going to make you feel good and therefore perform your best. And as always, discuss your weight management plan with your sports dietitian before implementing either of these diet strategies. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me at my email, which is addison.lears99@gmail.com. Here is our reference page if you want to do a little bit more digging on any of these diets. And then we have our webinar assessment tool. So feel free to press pause and write down or type out your answers to these 4 questions. On the next slide, then you will find the answers to all 4 of these. Thanks again for watching this webinar, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.